power, control, influence. These three words shape every interaction in our lives, whether we realize it or not. Right now, in this very moment, you're either the chess player or the chess piece. The question is, which one are you? I'm here to share a truth that might make some of you uncomfortable. A truth that successful people understand but rarely discuss openly. The world isn't divided into good people and bad people. It's divided into those who understand human nature and those who fall victim to it. Think about the last time someone took advantage of your kindness. Remember that sinking feeling in your stomach when you realized you'd been manipulated? That stops today, not because we're going to become manipulative ourselves, but because we're going to master the art of mutual benefit. You see, using people doesn't have to be negative. When I say use people, I'm talking about creating win-win situations where both parties benefit. It's about understanding human psychology so deeply that you can orchestrate scenarios where everyone gets what they want. This isn't manipulation. It's masterful relationship building. Let me tell you about Sarah, a young entrepreneur I met last year. She was brilliant, hardworking, but constantly found herself being exploited by partners and clients. She had this idea that being nice meant saying yes to everything. One day, she came to me in tears, having lost another major contract to someone who had basically stolen her ideas. Told her something that changed her life. Was stop being a resource and start being a strategist. The world is full of people who will drain you dry if you let them. They'll take your ideas, your time, your energy, and your money. Not because they're evil, but because you're letting them. You're playing the game without knowing the rules. Everyone is driven by self-interest. Yes, everyone. Even the most altruistic person on earth is motivated by something. Maybe it's the feeling they get from helping others. Maybe it's karma, maybe it's their legacy. Understanding this isn't cynical. It's realistic. When you grasp this fundamental truth, something magical happens. You stop being disappointed by people's actions because you can predict them. You stop feeling used because you learn to structure relationships that protect your interests from the start. Let me give you a practical example. Think about your workplace. There's always that one person who seems to get all the best projects, all the promotions, all the praise. Are they necessarily the most talented? Not always. But they understand something crucial. They know how to make themselves valuable to the right people. They don't just do their job. They study their superiors' needs, challenges, and goals. They position themselves as solutions to problems. They don't wait to be used. They present themselves as useful in ways that advance their own objectives. This is what I mean by using people before they use you. It's about being proactive rather than reactive. It's about understanding that every relationship is a transaction of value and making sure you're on the winning side of that transaction. But let's be clear. This isn't about becoming cold or calculating. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When you understand how to create mutual benefit, your relationships become more authentic, not because now you're operating from a position of strength and clarity, not weakness and need. Think about the most successful people you know. They're usually not the ones who try to please everyone. They're the ones who understand human nature and work with it rather than against it. Here's an exercise I want you to do right now. Take a moment and think about your 5 most important relationships, professional or personal. For each one, ask yourself, what do I bring to this relationship? What do I get from it? Is this exchange balanced? Many of you will realize that you're giving far more than you're receiving. That stops today. From this moment forward, you're going to start thinking strategically about every relationship in your life. This doesn't mean becoming manipulative or dishonest. It means being intentional and aware. The key is to understand what motivates people. Everyone has needs, desires, and fears. When you understand these, you can structure interactions that satisfy their needs while advancing your own goals. People respect what they earn more than what they're given. When you make yourself too available, too generous, too eager to please, people don't value you more, they value you less. I once worked with a corporate executive who was beloved by his team but constantly passed over for promotion. Why? Because he had made himself so indispensable in his current role that moving him would have created problems. He was being used by the system because he hadn't learned to use it first. After understanding these principles, he started training his subordinates to handle his responsibilities. He began networking with executives in other departments. He created systems that could run without him. Within a year, he had his promotion, not because he was more qualified, but because he had learned to position himself strategically. Always create systems that work for you. Don't just work within existing systems. When you build systems, you control the flow of value. You determine the rules of engagement. Think about social media influencers. The successful ones don't just create content. They create entire ecosystems of value. They understand that their followers aren't just consumers of content. They're assets that can be leveraged for growth. But remember, true power isn't about domination. It's about orchestration. It's about creating scenarios where people want to do what you need them to do because it benefits them too. Instead of asking for favors, create opportunities. Don't say, "Can you help me?" Say, "I have an opportunity that might interest you." This simple shift in language changes the entire dynamic of the interaction. When you master this mindset, something remarkable happens. People stop trying to use you because they recognize that you're operating at a different level. You become someone to collaborate with, not someone to exploit. Let's talk about boundaries because they're crucial to this philosophy. Many people think setting boundaries is about saying no. It's actually about designing the right yeases. It's about creating conditions where your engagement with others serves your objectives. Here's an exercise that will transform your relationships. Write down your non-negotiables. What are the things you absolutely won't tolerate? What are your minimum requirements for engaging with others? These aren't just personal preferences. They're your operating principles. Once you have these principles, communicate them through your actions, not your words. Don't tell people your boundaries. Show them. Actions create respect. Words create debate. Now, some of you might be thinking this sounds calculating or cold. But let me ask you this. Is it kinder to be clear about your expectations and boundaries or to let resentment build up because you're constantly being taken advantage of? True kindness comes from a position of strength, not weakness. When you're strong, you can choose to be kind. When you're weak, your kindness is often just fear in disguise. This brings us to another crucial point. Never let anyone define your value for you. The moment you accept someone else's valuation of your worth, you've given them power over you. I worked with an artist who was constantly underpricing her work because she felt grateful just to have customers. I asked her one question that changed everything. Who taught you to be grateful for what you deserve? Your value isn't determined by what others are willing to pay or give. It's determined by what you're willing to accept. When you truly understand this, you stop accepting less than you're worth. When you stop accepting less than you're worth, people start offering you more than you expect. Why? Because people value what is valuable, and you've shown them your value through your standards. Let's talk about leverage because it's essential to this philosophy. Leverage isn't about having power over others. It's about having options. The person with the most options has the most power in any situation. This is why successful people are always creating options, building networks, developing skills, and accumulating resources. They understand that these things aren't just assets. They're leverage points that can be used to create favorable situations. Think about negotiations. The person who can walk away from the deal always has the most power. This isn't about being arbitrary or difficult. It's about having alternatives that protect your interests. Always be developing your alternatives. In your career, in your relationships, in your business, always have a plan B, C, and D. Not because you're planning to use them, but because having them gives you the strength to negotiate better terms for plan A. People can only use you if you need something from them more than they need something from you. The key is to position yourself so that others need what you have more than you need what they have. This isn't about creating artificial scarcity or playing games. It's about genuinely developing yourself to the point where your value is clear and undeniable. Let me share a story about a client who transformed his business using these principles. He was a consultant who was constantly being pressured to lower his rates. Instead of competing on price, he started focusing on becoming irreplaceable. He developed proprietary methodologies, built a unique network of contacts, and created case studies that demonstrated his exceptional value. Within a year, he was turning away clients who wouldn't meet his fees because he had positioned himself as a premium solution rather than a commodity service. This brings us to another crucial principle. Never compete where you can dominate. Don't try to be better, be different. When you're different, you set the terms. When you're just better, you're still playing someone else's game. Think about this in terms of your career. Are you trying to be a better employee, or are you creating a unique role that only you can fill? Are you competing for promotion, or are you making promotion inevitable by becoming essential? Stop thinking about what people can do for you and start thinking about what you can make possible for them. When you become an enabler of others' success, you gain more influence than any amount of direct power could give you. And this is crucial. Always ensure that enabling others' success advances your own objectives. This isn't about being selfish. It's about being strategic. When you help others achieve their goals in ways that align with your own, you create sustainable win-win situations. Let's talk about timing, because it's often overlooked in discussions about influence and power. And knowing when to act is just as important as knowing what to. There's a rhythm to human behavior and relationships. People are more receptive to influence at certain times than others. Learning to recognize and use these moments is crucial to mastering the art of mutual benefit. For instance, people are most open to new ideas when they're facing challenges they can't solve alone. They're most generous when they've recently received something valuable. They're most loyal when they've just been helped through a difficult situation. Understanding these patterns allows you to time your actions for maximum effect. It's not manipulation, it's awareness. Always be the one who gives first, but give strategically. When you give first, you set the terms of the exchange. You create an obligation, but more importantly, you demonstrate your value. Think about networking events. Most people go around asking for things, jobs, contacts, opportunities. The masters go around offering things, introductions, insights, resources. Guess who builds stronger networks? But remember, strategic giving isn't about being a people pleaser. It's about making calculated investments in relationships that have potential for mutual benefit. Before any significant interaction, ask yourself 3 questions. What does this person need or want? What can I offer that would be valuable to them? How can fulfilling their need advance my own objectives? This isn't cynical. It's clarifying. It helps you focus your energy on interactions that have the potential for mutual benefit. Fear. Many people are afraid to think this way because they worry it makes them manipulative or self-serving. But here's the truth. Everyone is self-serving. The only question is whether they're conscious of it and ethical about it. Being conscious of your self-interest allows you to align it with others' interests. Being unconscious of it makes you vulnerable to those who would exploit it. Think about it this way. Would you rather deal with someone who's openly seeking mutual benefit, or someone who claims to be selfless but has hidden agendas? Maybe you must always be transparent about your intentions, but strategic about your methods. Let people know what you want to achieve, but maintain flexibility in how you achieve it. When people know your ultimate goal, they can choose whether to align with it. When they know your methods, they can resist or counter them. Share the what, protect the how. People respect clarity. When you're clear about what you want and what you offer, you attract those who can create genuine win-win situations with you, and you repel those who would try to exploit you. Let's talk about value creation, because it's the foundation of ethical influence. When you can create value for others while advancing your own interests, you never have to worry about being manipulative. Think about the most influential people in any field. They're usually not the ones with the most formal power. They're the ones who can make things happen for others. They're the connectors, the enablers, the value creators, right? Start thinking of yourself as a value creation hub. Don't just ask what value you can provide, ask what value you can facilitate. Can you connect people? Can you share information? Can you create opportunities? But remember, as a value creation isn't about being all things to all people. It's about being the right thing to the right people at the right time. I want to share a transformation technique that has worked for countless people. It's called the value audit. Take a piece of paper and write down, what unique value do you currently provide to others? What unique value could you provide with your existing resources and skills? What unique value could you provide if you develop new resources and skills? This exercise often reveals opportunities you've been overlooking and helps you identify areas for strategic development. Resilience. When you start operating this way, some people won't like it. They're used to you being available on their terms. They're comfortable with the old power dynamic. Resistance to your growth is often just other people's discomfort with losing their advantage over you. Your task isn't to make them comfortable. It's to remain committed to your own evolution. This isn't about becoming hard or uncaring. It's about becoming strong enough to care without being exploited. Learn to recognize value dynamics in every situation. In any interaction, ask yourself, who has what value? Who needs what value? How is value being exchanged? How could value be exchanged better? This awareness allows you to position yourself advantageously in any situation. Let's talk about leverage points because understanding them is crucial to this philosophy. A leverage point is any situation, resource, or capability that can be used to create favorable outcomes. Common leverage points include unique knowledge or skills, access to resources or opportunities, ability to solve specific problems, network connections, timing advantages, exclusive information. The key is to develop multiple leverage points and know when and how to use them. But remember this crucial truth. The most powerful leverage isn't what you can do to others. It's what you can do for others that they can't do for themselves. This brings us to another vital principle. Always be increasing your value. The more value you can create, the more power you have to negotiate favorable terms in any relationship. Think about your current situation. What steps are you taking to increase your value? Are you learning new skills? Building new relationships? Creating new opportunities? If you're not actively increasing your value, you're actually losing value because others are advancing while you're standing still. Every month, identify one way you can add significant value to your most important relationships. This keeps you growing and maintains your position of strength. The goal isn't to dominate or control others. The goal is to create situations where cooperation with you is so beneficial that using you becomes counterproductive. When you master this mindset, something remarkable happens. People stop trying to use you not because they can't, but because working with you properly is more valuable than trying to exploit you. This is the ultimate position of strength, where protecting your interests becomes other people's natural choice because it serves their interests too. May you leave you with this final thought. You are not here to be used. You are here to create value, to grow, to thrive, and to help others do the same, but on terms that serve your highest good. From this moment forward, commit to being strategic in your relationships. Commit to understanding human nature. Commit to creating win-win situations. Commit to operating from a position of strength. The world doesn't change when we wish it were different. It changes when we become different. Become someone who understands how to create and exchange value. Become someone who knows how to use people ethically and effectively before they use you. Power isn't about control. It's about creation. Create value, create opportunities, create win-win situations, but most importantly, create yourself as someone who cannot be used because you're too valuable as an ally. The choice is yours. You can remain a chess piece, moved by others' hands, or you can become the chess player, orchestrating moves that benefit. Choose wisely. Choose powerfully. Choose today. Your transformation begins now. The only question is, are you ready to step into your power? Take this message, these principles, these strategies, and use them. Start today. Start now. Because if you don't start now, someone else will use your hesitation to their advantage. Every moment you spend doubting yourself is a moment someone else spent. But let me be clear about something. This journey isn't about becoming ruthless. It's about becoming ruthlessly effective at creating mutual benefit. The most powerful people aren't those who can force others to do their will. They're those who can make others want to align with their objectives. I think about the last time you felt truly powerful. I bet it wasn't when you were forcing something to happen. It was when you were orchestrating a situation where everything fell naturally into place. That's the kind of power we're talking about. The power to create situations where your success becomes part of other people's success story. Here's a profound truth. Most people operate from a scarcity mindset. They think if someone wins, someone else must lose. But the masters of human dynamics understand that the biggest wins come from expanding the pie, not fighting over slices. Let me share a technique that has transformed countless lives. I call it the value mapping exercise. Take out your phone right now and create a new note. Write down every single person who's important to your goals. Next to each name, write what they want most, not what they say they want, what they really want. Now here's the crucial part. Write down how you can help them get it in a way that moves you toward your own goals. This isn't about manipulation. It's about alignment. When you understand what people truly want, you can structure situations where helping you helps them get it. That's the essence of ethical influence. People don't resist being used. They resist being used without benefit. When you create genuine value for others while advancing your own interests, resistance disappears. Let me tell you about Michael, a client who was struggling in his career. He was working 60-hour weeks, always available, always helpful, but constantly being passed over for promotion. His problem wasn't that he wasn't valuable. His problem was that he was too accessible. I taught him something that changed everything. Value isn't just about what you can do. It's about how you position what you can do. He started packaging his helpfulness differently. Instead of being the guy who would help anyone anytime, he became the guy who could solve specific high-value problems at crucial moments. His capacity hadn't changed, but within 6 months, he had the promotion he wanted. Why? Because he learned to use his capabilities strategically rather than letting others use them randomly. This brings us to another crucial principle. Always be the architect of your relationships, never the contractor. Architects design the structure. Contractors just build what they're told. But how do you become the architect? By understanding the foundation of human behavior. People act primarily based on their perceptions of self-interest. When you understand this, you can design situations where serving your interests becomes part of their perceived self-interest. But here's the key. You must remain ethical. Unethical behavior might bring short-term gains, but it destroys long-term power. True power comes from being someone others want to align with, not someone they're forced to deal with. The 3 questions of strategic alignment. Before any significant interaction, ask yourself, what do I want to achieve? What does the other person want to achieve? How can I structure this situation so both objectives are met? This simple practice prevents you from being used because it keeps you focused on creating win-win scenarios rather than just responding to others' demands. The most powerful position in any relationship is that of the value creator. When you can create value for others while advancing your own objectives, you never have to worry about being used, because using you properly becomes more valuable than trying to exploit you. Your journey starts now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Every interaction is an opportunity to practice these principles. Every relationship is a chance to create mutual benefit. Every challenge is an opening to position yourself more powerfully. The future belongs to those who understand that true power isn't about domination. It's about orchestration. It's about becoming someone who can't be used because you're too valuable as an equal. Look around this room. Look at the person sitting next to you. Every single person here has something you need, and you have something they need. The question is, who will be strategic enough to create that exchange first? I tell you something that might shock you. Right now, in this very moment, at least 7 people in your life are trying to figure out how to use you to get ahead. They're not evil people. They're just playing the game of life. Are you playing it too? Or are you just a piece on someone else's board? Think about where you'll be in 5 years if you continue letting others determine your value. Think about where you'll be if you continue reacting instead of orchestrating. Think about where you'll be if you keep saying yes when you should say, let's create a better way. Now think about where you'll be when you master these principles. Think about the doors that will open when you become known as someone who creates value for others while advancing your own goals. Think about the opportunities that will come your way when people realize that partnering with you properly is more valuable than trying to use you casually. The power to change your life doesn't come in small steps. It comes in moments of decision. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your turning point. Every great journey begins with a decision. Make yours now. Decide that from this moment forward, you will never again be used without benefit. Decide that from this day forward, you will be the chess player, not the chess piece. The world doesn't change when we wish it were different. It changes when we become different. Become someone who understands human nature so deeply that you can create win-win situations at will. Become someone who sees opportunities for mutual benefit where others see only competition. Your transformation begins now, not tomorrow, not next week. No. Stand up, take control, create value, build power. The future's waiting, and it belongs to those who understand that the greatest power comes not from using people, but from making it profitable for people to align with your success. The choice is yours. The power is yours. The time is now. Rise up, step forward, take control. Your new life isn't waiting for you. It's running toward you. Grab it. Own it. Live it. The time is now.